Oop needs help identifying a mysterious buzzer noise in her house. I am not op. This is a repost sub. This is not my story or situation. The original was posted in RBI July 28, 2022. The update was posted August 4, 2022. Need help identifying mysterious buzzer in my house. There is a strange buzzing noise in my house for the last 2 weeks. It sounds like one of those buzzers from the 80s or 90s. Like an old dryer finishing its cycle, or the noise when you buzz the front door in an older apartment building to let someone in. The sound lasts around 3 seconds and doesn't change in tone or volume. It happens once every few days. The first time was 10 a.m. and my husband couldn't hear it in his office. I could hear it in the hallway directly outside of his office door. It's happened a few random times during the day and he did hear it once. I'm not the only one. Last night the buzzer went off around midnight and it was loud enough to wake us up. We don't have alarm clocks and our appliances are all fairly new. They play annoying songs rather than buzz. Our smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are also new. We do have an old doorbell chime in the hallway, but ringing the doorbell doesn't recreate the buzzing sound. An electrician just finished inspecting the attic and checked out the doorbell. He says everything looks fine with the doorbell and no evidence of rodents. No frayed wires. No water in the attic. He did find a black box in the ceiling directly above my husband's desk. He couldn't identify it, but we think this was installed when the networking cables were placed last year. Our next steps are to disconnect the doorbell chime and ask the networking company about the box. Other details. We're located in Canada and our house was built in the 2000s. Any idea what's buzzing? Edit. We're still thinking that it is either the black box or the doorbell chime. The reason is the layout of our house. We do have a lot of pumps and alarms since we are a rural property with on-site water treatment. However, all of that is in an isolated room off of the garage. The room is insulated with a fire-rated door. You also have to pass through a mudroom before reaching the interior of the house. There's a small bathroom and a laundry room in this garage zone and we can't hear any of their sounds within the house. The alarms in this area can be difficult to hear to the point that we added text alerts for the major things. The buzz is crystal clear. Not muffled at all. It is loudest in the hallway where we have our bedroom and offices. I have a theory. A tree on our front lawn was struck by lightning about a month ago. Right before it happened, the doorbell chimed. It wasn't a buzz, but it chimed for about 1020 seconds right before and during the lightning strike. I'm thinking it was damaged in a way that isn't super obvious to look at. We'll be replacing the chime today. Some comments. Just consider whether the buzzing could possibly be non-electric. Water pipes can buzz in some circumstances. High water pressure or valves that are only partially open can be a cause. I've heard something similar at my home. It is the sump pump kicking on briefly to drain the sump. You're on a slab, so you may or may not have one. If you do, pour a bucket of water in it and see if you're hearing it. Septic tank aerator alarm? Update to random buzzer noise in my house. Many people had great suggestions and I want to thank you for your help. For context, my house was making an electric buzzer noise. The sound would last 510 seconds and it would happen a couple of times per week. There was no discernible pattern and the sound would happen during the day and at night. We hired an electrician to check the attic. We changed an old doorbell chime and we had the pump in our utility room serviced. Unfortunately, the noise still happened on Sunday. It was so frustrating since we have spent quite a bit trying to get to the bottom of this. But guys, I just figured it out. I was in our bedroom when the buzz happened. It sounded like it was coming from the ensuite bathroom and I ran to see what was happening. There it was. My husband's Philips electric razor was clearly moving on the counter and stopped as I entered the room. The light on the handle was still on, but shut itself off a few seconds later. So it's the razor. Somehow it turns on in short bursts. Time for a replacement. Edit. He usually puts the razor in a drawer after using it, which made the sound difficult to pinpoint. Apparently the last few days it has shut itself off while he was using it. There must be a loose connection. I am not op. This is a repost sub. That would have driven me absolutely mad. I would have been tearing the house apart looking for that sound. I bet it was such a relief when they figured it out. Read the title and immediately thought it was wall bees. Glad it was merely a haunted electric razor. Bees in the walls are expensive to fix. 9 times out of 10 it's an electric razor. But every once in a while, it's a dildo. Of course it's company policy never to imply ownership in the event of a dildo. Always use the indefinite article a dildo. Never your dildo. Turns out, the answer was the world's least exciting object possession. XD. I feel kinda bad for that ghost. I mean, at least he could have haunted a radio or TV or something. No one would have watched Poltergeist if the ghosts had been stuck inside a Gillette ProGlide. VORUs made me paranoid. I was thinking hidden camera. Ha 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 ha. One of my friends had one of those electric pedicure files that did the same thing. It sounded like something in the water pipes. It was intermittent noise, so hard to track down. Thankfully, they figured it out before they called the plumber. It makes me so mad that their life and possibly their finances took a hit because of something so mundane. Also, I kinda hoped for a hidden elevator to a secret basement or something. XD. Lol. Here I was thinking it was a carbon dioxide poisoning again. Glad it was so simple. I bought my first house and immediately had a buzz. Even asked the realtor to check in with the previous owners. He declined. Kinda glad. Turned out it was my new refrigerator trying to make ice. But I hadn't hooked up the water because 3 days after I moved in, the old ice maker line busted and had my kitchen in inches of water. They have a ghost who is trying to shave me. OMG, what could it be? Ghosts. It was ghosts. OMG, can you imagine the bill for an electrician only for it to be the razor? I would be so mad. But then again, I wouldn't have been able to afford an electrician to come over to figure this out. Haunted. So was it ghosts or aliens? Haunted razor sounds like the plot for a Tim Burton movie. Not sure I'd be quite so relieved as Oop. A few months ago I was alone in my house when I could hear a weird buzzing, hissing sound. We've had problems with water leaks in the past, so my first thought it was a leaky pipe. Eventually ruled it out being anywhere near a water source and pinpointed it to a connecting wall. We're semi-detached. I was about to go knock on the neighbor's door when it stopped. Moments later the neighbor went out. I can only assume it was an alarm vibrating on their mobile phone that must have been near the wall. Boy, did it have me stressed for a while though. Hilarious. This was my first thought. Something similar happened to my husband when we managed a building. Tenants called and complained about a loud buzzing noise. Hubby went over and looked around while they passively-aggressively complained about the place falling apart, and then he found their son's battery-operated razor running in the shower. Took an hour and a half to figure it out and no apologies. Lol. Almost the same thing happened to us. We kept hearing this crazy buzzing from our back wall in the master bedroom. My dad dug out the hose in the backyard and found it totally rusted. Figured it was the pipe buzzing because it was going to burst. And replaced it all. Dug out a good chunk of our backyard to do it too because of how much of the pipe was bad. Next day he heard the buzzing again. Y'all, it was his electric toothbrush randomly going off in the medicine cabinet. At least we got a new pipe in before it burst. Similar story. I began hearing a sound similar to my tinnitus. But like it's coming from somewhere else. Not inside my ear. Sorry for the bad explanation. Anyway, I thought I was going crazy because I could not find out what the damn noise was for 23 hours. Turns out, my exercise bike had batteries in the little display. And they were empty. It then starts giving off that damn sound to tell the user to change the batteries. Great feature. OMG, this exact situation happened to me. Random buzzing in the middle of the night. Before we spent any money one night it happened and I had a small crash in the bathroom. My electric toothbrush has turned itself on and was vibrating across the counter. Before it had not vibrated enough to leave its holder bit, that night it did.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.